They call it logistics. I call it babysitting 3,000 tons of steel, rubber, and humanity moving at 70 miles per hour across the continental United States. Is Richard. For 22 years, I have been the invisible glue holding Arcadia Freight Systems together. You do not know me, but if you bought a toaster in the Midwest, an avocado in February, or a generator after a hurricane, I am the reason it got there. I am the contract renewal specialist, which is corporate speak for the man who knows where the bodies are buried and has the shovel in his trunk. I do not have a corner office with a view of the skyline. I have a cubicle that smells like stale coffee and printer toner buried deep in the operational bowels of the building, and I like it that way. The quiet allows me to hear the hum of the machine. I know when a port strike in Long Beach is going to screw up a delivery in Omaha, 3 days before the union boss even decides to pick up a picket sign. I know which trucking consortium teams are padding their mileage and which ones will drive through a blizzard because they owe me a favor from 2008. But let us get one thing straight before I tell you how I burned this place to the ground. I did not want to be a hero. I just wanted to do my damn job. The problem started, as it always does, with a funeral. Old man Donovan, the founder, did not die, but he retired to a vineyard in Tuscany that probably cost more than the gross domestic product of a small island nation. He was a bastard, sure, but he was a bastard who knew the price of diesel. We respected each other. We had an understanding. I kept his trucks moving, and he kept the checks clearing. Then came Braden. Braden Donovan, 32 years old, with a business degree from a school his daddy paid for a library wing to get him into. Teeth so white they looked like they were radioactive. He walked into the chief executive officer suite wearing a suit that cost more than my car, smelling like sandalwood and unearned confidence. He did not know a pallet jack from a potato sack, but suddenly he was the captain of the ship. His first week, he installed a kombucha tap in the break room. His second week, he fired the entire janitorial staff to outsource for efficiency, which meant the toilets backed up within 48 hours. At month 3, he was walking around the floor with a woman named Chloe, who was apparently our new director of operations liaison, or whatever title you give your side piece to get her on the payroll. I kept my head down. I am a professional. I have survived 3 recessions, a global pandemic, and a cyber attack that required me to route trucks using a paper map and a payphone. I could survive Braden, or so I thought. The friction was not immediate. It was a slow grind like sand in a gearbox. Braden did not like me. I was legacy. I was analog. I was a 48-year-old man in a button-down shirt who refused to use the new chat software because I preferred to pick up the phone and scream at people until the job got done. To him, I was a relic. To me, he was a hood ornament on a Mack truck. Shiny, fragile, and completely useless when you hit a deer. I remember the day the dynamic shifted. It was a Tuesday. I was deep in the weeds, renegotiating a massive contract with the Gulf Coast Stevedores Union. These guys are tough. They eat nails for breakfast and negotiate with baseball bats. I had been on the phone with their representative, Big T, for 4 hours, massaging a 2% rate hike into a deal that would keep our Gulf shipping lanes open for another 5 years. Braden breezed by my desk, Chloe trailing behind him like a lost puppy in luxury heels. "Richard," he said, not stopping, just tossing the words over his shoulder like a gum wrapper. "We need to talk about your desk. It is cluttered, bad optics for investors." My desk was covered in bills of lading, manifests, and legal pads covered in my chicken scratch handwriting. It was the nervous system of the company. "I am in the middle of the Gulf Coast renewal, Braden," I said, covering the receiver. "If I clean my desk, you lose New Orleans." He stopped. He turned around, giving me that pitying smile people give to confused elderly relatives. "We have software for that now, Richard. Move it to the cloud and seriously lose the paper. It is 2024. He walked away. Chloe giggled. Big T was still on the line. "Everything all right, Rich?" he asked. "Fine, T," I said, lighting a mental cigarette because I quit the real ones 10 years ago. God, did I miss them. Just a minor glitch in the matrix. Now, about that overtime clause. I saved the deal. I saved the Gulf Coast lane. The company made $40 million on that contract alone over the next quarter. Did I get a thank you? No, I got an email from Human Resources about the clean desk policy. But the breaking point was not work. It never is. It is always the personal disrespect that lights the fuse. It was mid-October. Peak season was ramping up. Halloween candy, Thanksgiving turkeys, Christmas junk. Everything was moving at once. I was working 12-hour days fueled by ibuprofen and spite. Then, the email landed. Subject line read mandatory attendance celebrating visionary leadership. It was an invitation to Braden's birthday party. Join us this Saturday at the Donovan Estate for a night of innovation, celebration, and cocktails as we honor our Chief Executive Officer, Braden Donovan, on his 33rd trip around the sun. Attendance is mandatory for all senior staff. Saturday was the busiest Saturday of the month, the day the Asian imports hit the West Coast ports. The day I had to personally oversee the customs clearance for a massive shipment of pharmaceuticals that, if delayed, would spoil and cost us millions in insurance claims. I looked at the invitation. It was printed on heavy cardstock embossed with gold foil. It probably cost more than my weekly grocery budget. I hit reply. Braden, happy early birthday. Unfortunately, I cannot attend. I have the farm logistics clearance scheduled for Saturday night. It requires live monitoring due to the temperature-sensitive nature of the cargo. Have a drink for me. Regards, Richard. I thought that was it. Professional, polite, reasonable. I was wrong. The next morning, the office felt different. You know that feeling when the barometric pressure drops right before a tornado touches down? The air was heavy. The phones were too quiet. People were looking at me, then looking away. I sat down, booted up my ancient desktop, and took a sip of my lukewarm coffee. My login failed, access denied. That is weird, I thought. I typed it again, access denied. I was reaching for the phone to call information technology when I heard the click-clack of heels and the squeak of expensive loafers. Richard Braden's voice boomed. He was not smiling today. I spun my chair around. There he was, flanked by Chloe, holding a clipboard ironically, and two security guards who looked like they would rather be anywhere else. Is the server down? I asked. Though deep in my gut, right where the ulcer was starting to form, I knew the answer. We are making some changes, Braden said. He smoothed his tie. It was a silk knit, bright red. A power tie for a man with no power. We are pivoting to a more agile leadership structure. Your refusal to integrate with the team culture, he paused. Referencing the party without saying it was the final straw. You are not a team player. I stared at him. The silence stretched out rubber band tight. You are firing me, I stated flatly, because I am working this Saturday instead of watching you drink overpriced vodka. It is about culture fit, Chloe chimed in. Her voice was high and nasal. We need people who vibrate on our frequency. I looked at Chloe. I looked at Braden. I looked at the security guards. Braden, I said, my voice dangerously calm. I manage the contracts for 3,000 vendors. I am the authorized signatory for the Port of Los Angeles, the Teamsters Local 4004, and the Cross-Border Customs Alliance. If I leave, those relationships do not just transfer to the cloud. Braden laughed. It was a dry, ugly sound. Everyone is replaceable, Richard. That is business 101. Now, hand over your badge. Security will escort you out. I looked at my desk, the piles of paper, the sticky notes, the little framed photo of my dog, Buster. I stood up. I did not scream. I did not cry. I did not flip the table. I reached into my pocket, pulled out my plastic identification badge, and dropped it into Braden's outstretched hand. Okay, I said. Braden looked disappointed. He wanted a scene. He wanted me to beg. He wanted to feel like the big man crushing the rebellion. Tell your dad I said good luck, I added. My dad is in Europe, Braden sneered. He does not care about the help. He will, I said. I grabbed my briefcase, grabbed the picture of Buster, and I walked out. I pulled out my phone. It was my personal cell phone. Thank goodness. I have always kept a firewall between my life and the company property. I opened my email application, not the company email. My access there was cut the second Braden smirked, but my personal account. The address I had given to every major vendor, every union boss, and every port authority director over the last 2 decades. Not for official business, but for emergencies. Call me here if the building burns down, I used to tell them. Well, I struck the match. Now it was time to watch it burn. I did not send a mass blast. That is amateur hour. That looks like sabotage. No, I needed to be compliant, maliciously, beautifully compliant. I typed out a draft, subject. Notice of change in authorized representation, to whom it may concern. Effective immediately, I, Richard Miller, am no longer employed by Barcadia Freight Systems. As such, I am no longer the authorized signatory or point of contact for any active service level agreements, rate negotiations, or compliance verifications. Per Clause 7B of our Standard Master Service Agreement, Key Personnel Continuity, please be advised that my departure may trigger an automatic review or suspension of credit terms pending the appointment of a qualified successor. Please direct all future urgent matters to Braden Donovan, Chief Executive Officer. Best regards, Richard. I read it over. It was dry, it was factual, it was legally bulletproof. Clause 7B, that was the magic bullet. You see, years ago when Arcadia was expanding aggressively, our credit rating was shaky. Vendors were nervous about getting paid. To soothe them, Old Man Donovan had me insert a clause into our major contracts. It basically said that if the key personnel, me who held the relationship, left the company, the vendor had the right to immediately pause services or demand cash up front until they vetted the new management. It was a trust clause. They trusted me, not the company. Braden did not know about Clause 7B. Braden probably thought a master service agreement was a bondage term. I hit send on the first email, then the second, then the third. I went down the list alphabetically. Allied Trucking Consortium, sent. Bayonne Port Authority, sent. Canadian Border Services Brokerage, sent. I sat there for 20 minutes just hitting send. It was rhythmic, therapeutic, like popping bubble wrap, but every pop cost Arcadia $100,000. My phone buzzed. It was Big T from the Gulf Coast Union. Richard, what the hell is this email? His voice rumbled, sounding like gravel in a blender. I just got a bounce back from your work address saying user unknown. I am out, T, I said, leaning back in my seat. Braden let me go this morning. Culture fit. Culture fit? T laughed, a barking sound. Does he know the ink is not even dry on the renewal we talked about Tuesday? He does not seem to think it matters, T. He thinks the software handles it. Software does not buy me a beer when my guys are working Christmas, T grumbled. So, who is handling the dispatch for the chemical shipment tonight? That stuff is volatile. If my guys do not have the hazardous materials clearance code signed by a certified officer, that would be Braden, I said. Or maybe Chloe, she vibrates on a high frequency. T, I am sure she can vibrate the paperwork through. Yeah, I know, he said. I am not risking my guys. If you are not signing off, the trucks do not roll. Clause 7B, right? Clause 7B, I confirmed. Strict adherence to safety protocols. You got it, Rich. Trucks are parking. Enjoy your day off. The line went dead. I smiled. One domino down. I started the car and drove out of the lot. As I turned onto the main road, I passed a line of Arcadia trucks heading inbound. They looked so impressive. Those big blue cabs with the silver logo. The drivers had no idea that in about an hour their fuel cards were going to get declined because the fleet management vendor, the guy from Fleet Corporation whom I sent a Christmas card to every year, was about to read my email. I drove to a local truck stop diner to gather my thoughts. A black Mercedes pulls up to a truck stop diner. It sticks out like a diamond in a pile of coal. The driver, a guy who looks like he doubles as a bouncer for a high-end club, opens the door for me. I grab my beat-up briefcase and my laptop. Brenda behind the counter whistles. Moving up in the world, Richard. Just a different kind of ride, Brenda, I say. I slide into the back seat. It smells like new leather and money. As we glide onto the highway heading toward the business district, I check the news on my phone. Nothing on the major networks yet. Logistics is boring until it breaks, but the industry trade blogs are lighting up. FreightWaves headline reads, Arcadia Systems reporting major information technology outage, ports gridlocked. The Lodestar asks, who is Richard Miller? Why truckers are refusing to move for Arcadia Freight? I almost laugh. I am trending in the weirdest, nerdiest corner of the internet. I am a celebrity. My phone vibrates. A voicemail. It is from my mother. Jared, the payroll manager, must have called the prayer circle. Richard, my mom's voice quavers. Pastor Dave heard you were fired. We are praying for you. Also, Aunt Barb wants to know if you can still get her that discount on shipping a pallet of ceramic frogs from Mexico. Call me. I rub my temples. Even in the apocalypse, Aunt Barb needs her frogs. We arrive at the Obsidian, a steakhouse downtown where the waiters wear tuxedos and the water costs $9. Elias Thorne is waiting at a corner table. He looks like a villain who decided to go into supply chain management instead of world domination. Perfectly tailored suit, gray temples, eyes that calculate profit margins in real time. Richard, he stands, offering a hand. You look energized. I look like I have been fired, Elias, I say, sitting down. Let us cut the crap. You know what is happening. I do, he nods, signaling the waiter. Our dispatchers are reporting a massive uptick in spot market requests. Arcadia loads are being dumped on the open board. Rates are skyrocketing. It is a feeding frenzy. Braden is panicking, I say, unfolding the napkin. He is trying to cover the loads. He cannot move, but he does not have the drivers. And why is that, Richard? Elias leans in. Why are the drivers parking? Unions do not strike over a mid-level manager getting canned. I am not mid-level, Elias. I am the insurance policy. They know that without me, the checks might bounce. The way station tickets will not get paid, and the customs brokers will not clear the papers. I did not tell them to stop. I just told them I was not there to protect them anymore. Self-preservation did the rest. The waiter arrives. I order a whiskey. Neat. Elias orders a sparkling water. So, Elias says, what do you want? A vice president title? Corner office? We can match your salary at 20%. I do not want a job, Elias, I say, staring at him. I want autonomy. Explain. I want to build a division within global strategic accounts. I bring my book of business, my vendors, my contacts, my trust. I run it my way. No interference from your director of vibes or whatever corporate fluff you have. I report to you and only you. And if I say a truck moves, it moves. If I say we pay a premium to get a driver home for Christmas, we pay it. Elias taps his finger on the table. You are asking for a fiefdom. I am offering you an empire. I correct him. Arcadia is bleeding out. By tomorrow morning, their major clients will be looking for a lifeboat. I can be that lifeboat, but I steer the ship. Elias smiles. It is a predatory smile, but I like it. It is honest. Deal, he says. But you have to bring the Port of Los Angeles with you immediately. We have a backlog. Done, I say. Give me a contract. While we are waiting for the stakes, my phone buzzes again. It is a text from an unknown number. The text reads, You leaked the customs codes. It is Braden. He has moved from professional threats to personal insults. I text back. I did not leak anything. I just did not renew the encryption license. It expired at noon. Should have checked the autopay. I take a sip of whiskey. It burns, but it is a good burn. Then a notification pops up that makes my blood run cold. Alert from Department of Transportation. Incident report. Arcadia Freight Vehicle 4004 involved in multi-car pileup on Interstate 80. Hazardous materials spill. My stomach drops. Hazardous materials. That is the chemical load Big T had warned us regarding. I call T immediately. He answers on the first ring. Richard, tell me you saw it, T says. He sounds shaken. I saw the alert. Was it one of ours? Yeah, but listen, it was not one of my guys. It was a scab. Non-union driver Braden hired off a digital freight board an hour ago to move the load because we refused. Oh my God, I whisper. The kid did not have the hazardous materials endorsement. Richard, he took a corner too fast, jackknifed. Leaked industrial solvent all over the interstate. Environmental Protection Agency is en route. This is not just a delay anymore. This is a federal investigation. I close my eyes. This is what happens. This is the cost of arrogance. It is not just money, it is safety, it is lives. Is the driver okay? I ask. He is in the hospital. He will live. But Arcadia, they are done, Richard. The Department of Transportation is going to ground the entire fleet for a safety audit. Mandatory immediate suspension of operations. I look at Elias across the table. He sees the look on my face. What happened? He asks. Arcadia just killed itself, I say. Hazardous materials spill. Scab driver. Department of Transportation is shutting them down. Elias whistles low. The stock is going to zero. Braden does not just need a lawyer, I say, standing up. He needs a priest. We need to execute this immediately, Elias. Give me the contract. For the next 6 hours, I sat in a leather chair that cost more than my first car and dismantled my old life. I called the Port of Los Angeles. Richard, thank God we have containers stacked to the moon. Arcadia is not answering. What do we do? Route to Global, I said. I am authorizing the transfer. You are at Global? Okay, switching the manifest now. I called the consortium of Midwest truckers. Hey boys, it is Richard. I heard about the crash. Listen, if you want your invoices paid this week, you need to bill Global. I am fast-tracking the vendor setup. We are with you, Richard. Just tell us where to drive. It was a landslide, a mass migration. By 8 o'clock in the evening, I had moved 60% of Arcadia's active volume to Global. My phone buzzed. A text from Jared at Arcadia. Jared wrote, It is a bloodbath here. Donovan fired Braden. Security escorted him out. He was crying, Richard. Actually crying. Donovan is in the conference room. He looks old. He is asking for you. I stared at the screen. Braden was gone. The witch was dead, but the house had already fallen. Elias, I said, I need to step out. You just started, he frowned. I need to close the loop, I said. I drove back to Arcadia. The news vans were gone, but the police tape was still up around the hazardous materials area. The building looked dark except for the lights on the top floor. The executive suite. My badge did not work, obviously. I buzzed the intercom. Security, a tired voice answered. It is Richard, I said. There was a pause. Then the buzzer buzzed. I walked through the lobby. It was empty. A ghost town. The Employee of the Month plaque still had a picture of Chloe on it. I resisted the urge to rip it down. I took the elevator up. The executive floor was silent. I walked past Braden's office. The door was open. It was trashed. Papers everywhere. A broken vase, a spilled drink on the rug, the smell of failure. I walked to the boardroom. Donovan was sitting at the head of the long mahogany table. He was alone. A bottle of scotch was open in front of him. He looked up when I entered. He looked shrunken, defeated. You took them all, he said. It was not a question. I took the ones who wanted to survive, I said, remaining standing. Global stock is up 8% in after-hours trading, he muttered. Arcadia is halted. He poured 2 glasses of scotch. He slid one down the table. It stopped right at the edge near me. I fired him, Donovan said. Braden, I cut him off, disinherited him. He is gone. That is good, Donovan, but it is a day late, I know. He slammed his hand on the table. I know. I trusted him. He is my son. He is an idiot, Donovan, and you knew it. But you let him play chief executive officer because you wanted a legacy. And what is this? He gestured around the empty room. Is this my legacy? No, I said, picking up the glass. I am. He stared at me. I trained the people who actually run this place. I wrote the contracts. I built the relationships. You provided the capital, Donovan, but I provided the competence. And when you let that competence walk out the door, you lost the right to the legacy. I downed the scotch. It was expensive. Smooth. I offered you the chief operating officer job, he said quietly. In the car, you said no, because I do not want to fix your mistakes anymore, I said. I want to build something new with Elias Thorne. He sneered. He is a shark. He is a shark who knows not to bite the hand that feeds the logistics network, I said. I put the glass down. I came here to tell you one thing, Donovan. Jared in payroll and the warehouse team and the dispatchers. Do not screw them. Give them their severance. If I hear that one paycheck bounces, I will poach every single remaining employee you have and leave you with nothing but the copper wire in the walls. Donovan looked at me for a moment. I saw the old fire in his eyes. They will be paid, he said. Good. I turned to leave. Richard, he said. I stopped. You were the best I ever had, he said. I know, I said. That is why it cost you so much to lose me. I walked out. I took the elevator down. I walked to my car. I deleted the emergency contact list from my personal phone. They were all in the global database now. I was done. I drove home. My apartment was quiet. Buster, my golden retriever, greeted me with a wagging tail, oblivious to the fact that his owner had just decapitated a corporate dynasty. I sat on my couch. The television was off. I poured a glass of cheap wine, not the good stuff Elias had offered. My phone rang. He is in jail, Donovan said. His voice sounded like broken glass. I said, embezzlement. Simon says it is millions. He stole from the pension fund, Richard. That hit me. The pension fund, the money for the drivers, for the husband who drove for us for 30 years. Fix it, Donovan, I said. I cannot. The accounts are frozen. The fines, Richard. If the pension is gone, these people have nothing. I closed my eyes. I wanted to destroy Braden. I did not want to destroy the drivers. Richard, Donovan pleaded. You have the contracts. You have the leverage. You are with Global now. Can you structure the deal so Global absorbs the pension liability? It was a massive ask. It would cost Global millions. Elias would hate it. It made no business sense. But then I thought about Big T. I thought about the guys who drove through blizzards. I can try, I said, but it will cost you everything. You sell the Arcadia brand to Global for $1. We take the assets, we take the liabilities, we take the pension. You walk away. You retire to Italy and you never ever come back. You want me to sell my life's work for $1. It is worth less than that right now, Donovan. It is negative equity. I am offering you a clean exit. There was a long silence. Do it, he said. I hung up. I called Elias. It was 11 o'clock at night. Richard, change of plans, Elias. We are not just taking the clients, we are buying the whole damn company. For how much? $1. And the catch, we assume the pension fund liability. Richard, that is sentimental. That is not good business. It is great business, Elias. We get the fleet. We get the warehouses. We get the drivers. Loyal drivers who will know that we saved their retirement. You want loyalty. You buy it. Elias was silent. He was calculating. You are a shark, Richard, he said finally. A sentimental shark, but fine, draft it. I leaned back on the couch. I had done it. I had destroyed the king, jailed the prince, and usurped the kingdom. And I saved the peasants. I took a sip of wine. It did not taste like victory. It tasted like exhaustion, but it was the best wine I had ever had. 3 weeks later, my new office at Global has a glass wall. I can see the harbor from here. I can see the cranes loading containers onto ships. Some of those containers are painted Arcadia blue, but they have a Global Logistics sticker slapped over the logo. We are calling it the acquisition of the decade. Forbes wrote an article about it. They called me the Iron Man of logistics. I hate it, but I framed it for my mom. Braden is out on bail, awaiting trial. Rumors say Chloe is testifying against him in exchange for immunity. She is launching a podcast about surviving toxic workplaces. I subscribed. It is hilarious. Donovan is in Tuscany. He sent me a case of wine. I have not opened it. The drivers kept their pensions. Big T sent me a bouquet of flowers that was so big it required a forklift to get it to my desk. The card read to the boss man, "We roll when you say roll." I sat at my desk looking at the clean digital dashboard on my 3 monitors. No paper, no clutter, just efficiency. My assistant, a sharp kid named Jared, who actually knows how to use spreadsheets, walked in. "Mail call, Richard." He dropped a stack of letters on my desk. I flipped through them. Vendor contracts, thank you notes. And then a small pink envelope. It was from the Department of Corrections. I opened it, a letter from Braden, handwritten. "Richard, you think you won. You are just a cog. You will always be a cog. I hope you enjoy your cubicle." I looked at my sprawling corner office. I looked at the view of the empire I now commanded. I did not feel anger. I felt nothing. He was a ghost. A glitch I had patched. I picked up the letter. I walked over to the shredder where the pink paper turned into confetti. I walked back to my desk. My phone rang. It was Elias. "Richard, we have a situation in the Suez Canal. A ship is stuck. We need a route plan." I smiled. "I am on it," I said. I put on my headset. I pulled up the map. The machine was humming, and I was the one holding the wrench. "Let us move some freight," I said to the empty room. "And I need a cigarette."